Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning,
Waalaikumsalam.
distinguished presenter, panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us in the second day of Third International Conference of APIK Indonesia Network with theme Nature-Based Solution for Implementing of NDC and NAP in Developing Countries. So we have already been in room B now with topic about the low carbon development. So in this room, we have 10 speakers, 10 presenters, and the committee have already received 9 videos, and I think one presenter will give the live presentation later. And we have the two panelists in this session. And the first, I would like to introduce our panelists now in the room B with the topic of the low carbon development. The first we have Mr. Insinyur Medrilzam, PhD, Director for Environmental Affairs, National Development Planning Agency, Bappenas. And the second panelist, we have Ms. Novia Widianing Tias, MSc, Secretary of Directorate General of Climate Change, Ministry of Environment and Forestry. So to make the effective time for our session, I would like to hand over this presentation session to Ibu Komaria. I would like to introduce Ibu Komaria. Ibu Komaria, PhD. She is a coordinator of Climate Change Research Group, University of 11 Maret. Ibu Komaria, time is yours, Bu. Please to moderate the presentation session with the 10 speakers, 10 presenters. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rico. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor for me to moderate you in this session about low carbon development. To all the distinguished presenters, welcome to this session. We will listen to your presentations, but before that, I would like to express our highest appreciation to GESSD for the conference, for organizing the conference, and then for the APIK Indonesia Network. Thank you very much. So we, as Mr. Rico said before, that we are going to listen to 10 presenters for today, and then after that, your presentations will be discussed by two panelists, as mentioned before. To shorten the time, I think we would like to call the first presenter. If you have your handbook uh, in hand, maybe you can understand when is your turn. For the first presenter, we would like to call Mr. The authors are Christian Salazar and Anna Igorevna Kurbatova. The title is Kuitos Coronavirus Review, Escalating Tropospheric Ozone Pollution. Okay, thank you for the video. The affiliation is from the People's Friendship University of Russia. Okay, Faculty of Ecology, Russia Federation. And I think one of the author is here. May we know? Can you speak up? Mr. or Miss Christian Salazar, Anna Kurbatova, and Milana Kuprianova. Are you here? If you are here, your video is ready to be presented. Maybe we can take all the participants. Please wait. Let me check first the participants. It seems none of the author is already in this room yet. Maybe they're not joining it, yeah. Okay,
but
maybe
but
we
but maybe
can.
we can
Hmm?
play this
Okay,
the video.
okay, 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 please. So we will see the video. Thank you, Mr. Rico.
Hello, my name is Cristian Salazar. I'm PhD student at Leiden University Faculty of Ecology. The topic of my research is Quito's coronavirus curfew, escalating tropospheric ozone pollution. The first reported case of COVID-19 in Ecuador was on February 29, 2020, when on February 14, a 71-year-old woman returned from Spain to the country. On March 13, 2020, the death of patient zero was notified. Cases from the end of the second month of the year increased in the national territory. As a result, the following day, a curfew from 2 p.m. to 5 a.m. from April to June was established in the country. This restriction measure reduced all types of mobility and minimized activities in an unprecedented way, allowing an evaluation of the effect of anthropogenic activities on concentration levels of atmospheric pollutants under unique conditions. Quarantine policies have caused a considerable decrease in nitrogen dioxide and fine particulate matter concentration, while ozone concentration have increased. These patterns were observed in Rio de Janeiro, Barcelona, Nice, Roma, and Valencia. The media and the international community during the curfew paid great attention to the decrease in NO2 concentrations, associating this fact with an improvement in air quality. By contrast, less attention was paid to ozone without considering that a significant increase in ozone concentration represents a great danger to public health. So in this case, it can be stated that air quality only partially improves. This research aims to study the impact of the lockdown and curfew imposed due to the COVID-19 pandemic on the dynamic of air pollution concentration such as CO, PM2.5, NO2, and O3 in particular, in one of the most popular touristic areas of the Quito city with the highest traffic congestion. The historical center is located in the south center of the city of Quito, covering an area of 375.2 hectares, and is considered as one of the most important and best preserved historical complexes in Latin America. The air quality monitoring network of the Quito city is equipped with 8 automatic stations to measure in real-time concentration of SO2, CO, NO2, O3, PM10 and PM2.5. The hourly concentration of these pollutants are available on the official website of the city municipality. The automatic station measuring air pollution levels in the historic city center called Centro at a height of 2,820 meters above sea level. To quantify the effect of the curfew established in the city on air pollutant levels, in addition to ozone, the behavior of its precursors was studied. Only concentration of CO, NO2, PM2.5, and O3 provided by the Central Automatic Station were processed from April to June for the years 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. To estimate the difference between a long reduction in activities compared to the typical reduction in activities that occurs at weekends, the variation in 8-hour average ozone concentration on weekends with respect to weekdays during the curfew were compared. The same comparison was done for the years 2017, 2018, and 2019. Table 1 indicates gas and particle analyzer used in the central monitoring station and the principle of operation. By averaging the mean daily concentration of CO, PM, NO2 and O3 during the period April-June for the years 2017 to 2020 respectively, a significant decrease in the concentration of all pollutants except ozone is observed in 2020. Compared to the mean concentration in the years 2017, 2018, and 2019 during the months of April to June in 2020, there was a decrease in the concentration of CO by 55%, 42%, 33%, of PM by 47%, 42%, 36%, and of NO2 by 68%, 65%, 66% respectively. According to these values, due to the curve fit, the most significant reduction was in NO2 mean concentration compared to the other pollutant studies. Regarding ozone, there is an increase in concentration during the curve fit compared to the years 2017, 2018, and 2019 by 96%, 109% and 95% respectively. In the case of Quito, a study carried out during 2014 determined that ozone formation in the city of Quito is generally limited by volatile organic compounds, so the ozone concentration depends mainly on the amount of VOC, that is, the ozone concentration increases with increasing VOC and decreases with increasing NOx or vice versa. As per Figure 3a and 3b, the NO2 concentration only profiles before and during the curve show two maximum concentration peaks, one of them at 7 a.m. and another one at 8 p.m., both on weekdays and weekends, while the minimum concentration both on weekdays and weekends was recorded at 3 p.m. before and during the curfew. During the curfew, the NO2 mean concentration at 7 a.m. both on weekdays and weekends was 42% and 50% lower compared to weekdays and weekends before curfew respectively. This concentration peak recorded at 7 a.m. is possible the result of atmospheric temperature inversions. Diurnal patterns of early ozone mean concentration before and during the curfew both on weekdays and weekends show that the highest concentration was recorded at midday. This concentration peak is associated with the fact that in the city of Quito maximum solar radiation is recorded at midday, so a high atmospheric temperature favorably affected the kinetics of the ozone formation reaction. In the curfew period, the ozone mean concentration at midday on weekdays was 34% and weekends 13% higher in comparison with the weekdays and weekends before the curfew. According to the Figure 5, during the period from April to June in the years 2017, 2018, and 2019, the highest 8-hour average ozone concentration were recorded on weekends compared to the weekdays, evidencing the existence of the ozone weekend effects. The percent of variation of the 8-hour average concentration during the weekends compared to weekdays in 2017 was 7%, in 2018 10%, and in 2019 9% respectively. In the period from April to June of the year 2020, the ozone weekend effect was not identified, since the 8-hour average concentration during weekends was lower compared to that of weekdays by 4%. 8-hour average concentration during the weekdays from April to June in 2020 was 50%, 57%, and 52% higher compared to the weekdays of the equivalent period in the years 2017, 2018, and 2019, and during the weekend from April to June in 2020 was 34%, 26%, and 33% higher compared to the weekends of the same period in the years 2017, 2018, and 2019. According to this result, the most significant variation in ozone production during the curve in comparison to the same period in the previous year was on weekdays. Several conclusions can be drawn as follows. Among studying pollutants that influence ozone formation during the curfew, the contaminant that showed the greatest reduction in the mean concentration compared to the three previous years was NO2, followed by CO and PM. By contrast, ozone concentration increased significantly. This increase is the result of low concentration of NO due to the reduction of NOx emission, so that a large amount of the accumulated ozone didn't react and remaining in the air. This increase in the ozone concentration level can be compared to the causes of the weekend effect under limited VOC conditions. The analysis showed that the most significant variation in ozone production during the curve in comparison to the same period in 3 previous years was on weekdays. Both on weekends and weekdays, the 8-hour average ozone concentration were lower than the threshold limit value established by Ecuadorian air quality standards.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much for the video presentation from our first presenter, Mr. Christian Salazar. I think that the time is uh, good enough. It's not exceeding 9 minutes, right? So I think we can go to the second presentation entitled Towards an Eco-Industrial Development in West Papua Economy by Mr. Ruli Novi Hurara, which is from Economics Faculty, University of Papua, Indonesia. Okay, so we can play the video now. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ruli and today I'm going to give a presentation about towards an eco-industrial development in West Papua economy. Let's move on the next slide. Introduction. In this slide, total investment in West Papua has increased over the past 5 years, impacting economic growth to 5.04% in 2019, and the industrial sector has contributed 26.9% of the GDRP, and the emissions have increased by 2.9% per year since 2000, and the Indonesian government ratified the Paris Agreement and published a national determined contribution (NDC) addressing the commitment to reduce emission by 29% to 41%. And if West Papua integrate eco-industrial development to reduce industrial emissions to benefit the local economy, the question needs to be answered. The first, how much the GRDP and the potential contribution emission reduction in West Papua, and the second, how is the impact of the two scenarios to the added benefit for the local community and the contribution of the global economy. In this slide, we show you about the material and methods. The simulation data for make the models, we collected data from 2010 until 2018 of Central Bureau of the Statistics data and findings some other research. There are three main elements in system dynamic model, namely stock variable, flow variable, and additional variable. According to the causal loop diagram, you know the investment industry sector of CLD BAU will encourage the capital industry to produce the GDRP industry as a value-added local industrial sector and carbon industry emission. In CLD eco-industrial development, investment in the industry sector will encourage the capital industry to produce the GDRP industry in the form of value-added industry sector and emission, and will affect the industry sector's investment. And let's move on the next slide. Stock flow diagram. In this slide, I show you the core element provided value added for the industry sector, while the emission element affect the investment scheme. This model emphasizes emissions reduction target to meet national target under the indice framework. The graph shows that the investment used to build GRDP lies in components that can produce fraction of emission. Let's move on the next slide. In this table, I show the variables in the stock flow diagram model, and I use the formula and the units which they use PowerSim to generate the simulation. Result and discussion. Here, it is interesting graph of information because this graph is the result of the simulation. In this graph, the simulation of West Province Industrial GRDP. The graph shows that the bow scenario shows that the industrial GRDP has risen from about 1,200 billion in 2010 to over 2,500 billion in 2030, while the emission will steadily increase to more than 60,000 ton CO2e by 2030. This condition allows the accumulation of emission to be reasonably high. Now I will focus on the industrial sector GRDP and emission in West Papua. In these graphs, I show three GRDP simulation scenarios in the province of West Papua. The bow scenario shows the regional revenue path assuming no external intervention or climate mitigation activities for economic development in the industrial sector. The second and third scenario are the eco-industrial development scenario, assuming that EID activities are carried out under the indice target of 29% and 41% of reducing emissions by 2030. Let us come to the next point, the integration of West Papua regional economic development with the global region. In this graph, simulation shows the relationship between the regional outcome of West Papua compared to the global region under bow and EID scenario. This simulation result use intermediate input with different proportion from the local and imported input. This input produce industrial sector output which benefit West, not only West Papua, but other provinces and the global economic as well. And the last conclusion. You can see the conclusion in here. And this conclusion, I can talk about the model simulation, show the contraction of the GRDP in the industrial sector due to the EID scenario implementation. And the provincial government need to consider the economic contraction. And this research actually needs to be and hence to involve variables of environment and society in West Papua to explore its relationships with factor production of labor in the industrial sector. Then that brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we go to the next presentation, I would like to call for Mr. Ruli Novi Wurara. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much. We just presented your video, and after some video, I'm sorry. Okay, after 3 presentations, then we will open the question sessions. Okay, so please, how to say, uh, please prepare for the questions after 3 presentations, Mr. Herrera. Okay, and then I would like also to remind everyone here that this room is B room. B room with the topic about low carbon development. Please make sure that you are not in the wrong room. Okay, please make sure that you are in the correct room, the low carbon development section. Okay, so next, I would like to call Miss Saraswati Prabhawardhani. Are you here? Your presentation will be the third presentation
Yes,
for
I'm
the
here.
team. Okay, Ms. Saraswati Prabhawardhani from Faculty of Agricultural Technology, University of Papua, Manokwari, Indonesia. And for the committee, can we play the video now? Okay, here we go.
Hello everyone, I'm Dani Saraswati. I work as lecturer and researcher at Papua University, West Papua, Indonesia. In this presentation, I'm going to discuss about toward low carbon solid waste management in West Papua. This is my research team, and they are all from various different institutions. Let's start with the introduction. West Papua is located in the eastern part of Indonesia. The total population in West Papua in 2010 was about 700,000 people, but increased to 900,000 in 2019 with population growth rate of 2.65% per year. The increasing population and standard of living, as illustrated by annual income, will create consequences for increasing volume of waste, and this may produce serious impact for the environment if it is not properly managed. Therefore, waste management should be prioritized to reduce the greenhouse gas impact on the atmosphere. This is supported by several reports that solid waste increase at the rapid rate as population grow up, urbanization increase, economic develop, and living standard improve. This is the sample of solid waste management in West Papua. You can see here, waste from the household, commercial, industrial sectors transported directly to the public waste bins, and periodically the government trucks take and dispose the waste to the landfill. When we look at the solid waste composition in West Papua, it is dominated by food scrap for 70%. Most of solid waste produced has not been managed properly due to low awareness, lack of knowledge, and skill in waste management. Proper solid waste management in West Papua is needed as any type of waste has an impact on greenhouse gas emission and pollutants. One of the problems in building proper waste management system in West Papua is data collection. Most of waste are just dumped, and due to huge waste production per day from every sector, exact weight and volume measurement would be very difficult to be accounted. Therefore, some approaches are required to estimate total waste produced and its emission. In order To address the above problem, this study aims to assess greenhouse gas emission from solid waste generated from 2010 to 2030, and secondly, propose the minimum portion of waste to be managed to maintain greenhouse gas emission at the convenient level with the available capacity in West Papua. Let's move to the next slide. Research method. Table 1 and 2 show the variable or data consisted of GRDP, population number, solid waste, and landfill capacity as independent variables in order to obtain solid waste emission. To obtain the best scenario of low carbon emission from solid waste, this study provides two system models to illustrate the existing or business as usual of waste generation and proposed model to reduce greenhouse gas emission from solid waste. The validation process uses EME method. Result and discussion. For the existing business as usual scenario, the result shows that the rate of solid waste generation is in line with the population and GRDP growth rate as in figure 1. In this simulation model, the population growth in West Papua, which continue to increase, will directly contribute to the increasing of waste. This population growth also contribute to the GRDP with population activities in various sectors. However, the activities of the sectors that support the increase in GRDP contribute to the abundance of waste. This can be seen from the models formulated that the abundance of waste will increase the emission of waste and also the area of the existing landfill. Therefore, new land is needed to be used as landfill. Based on the bio model in figure 1, the GRDP growth rate in West Papua was 5.2% per year, while population growth rate was 2.65% per year during 2010 to 2018. At the same period, the solid waste rate was 93,000 tons per year, while the amount of waste produced per capita was 1.5 tons per billion. Therefore, this model involves landfill capacity as constraint and issues on waste management. But based on the validation in table 3, the business as usual model is considered well representing the actual condition on the field with low EME value of 1.96% for total GRDP and 0.40% for population in West Papua. By exercising this model, the business as usual of solid waste generation produce great amount of emission at 600,000 tons CO2 equivalent in 2018 and will keep increasing up to 1 million tons CO2 equivalent in 2030 as shown in figure 2 that the emission of CO2 increased steadily from 2010 to 2018. Therefore, the study proposed new scenario to intervene the generated of solid waste to be aligned with NDC target of waste emission and propose certain area for landfill extension. For proposed scenarios from 2021 to 2030, as in figure 3, intervention to mitigate the increasing waste rate is added by waste processing or treatment. The amount of intervention is in line with 29 NDC target reduction from waste emission as shown in table 4. By exercising the proposed model, total waste generated will reduce to 2.9 million tons compared to the existing business as usual model that will produce 3.7 million tons in 2030. Total emission from waste also will be reduced to 800,000 tons CO2 equivalent or equivalent with 27% emission reduction, which close to NDC target of 29%. Not only waste intervention, this model also proposes extension of landfill capacity at 3% per annum to cater the rapid increment of soil waste generation. By looking at the figure 4, the 3% per annum capacity extension would cater the need of waste landfill up to 2030 if the waste treatment was implemented. In conclusion, the proposed model are able to estimate total solid waste produced and its greenhouse gas emission in West Papua. By 2030, West Papua will produce abundant solid waste about 3.7 million ton and greenhouse gas emission to 1.1 ton CO2 equivalent if the business as usual waste management remains. New scenario is proposed as part of the NDC target to reduce greenhouse gas emission by intervention on the business as usual model with proper solid waste management. By proposed scenario, West Papua is required to process their waste up to 100,000 ton per year to maintain the greenhouse gas emission at 897,000 ton CO2 equivalent in 2030 and meet the NDC 29% emission reduction target. Landfill capacity should be increased by at least 3% per annum to provide the upcoming solid waste capacity as the population and GRDP keep increasing. Finally, thank you to TASCA project, funded by International Climate Initiative, for providing financial and technical support during the development of this proceeding. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the video presentation. I'm very sorry. Previously, I forgot to tell you that for any question, you can type in the chat room, or now maybe after the three presentation, you can raise your hand to ask for the three presenters, the first three presenters, which was, I will mention again the title about Kuitos coronavirus curfew. I'm sorry, is Mr. Christian Salazar, the representative, already joined this room? If you are here, could you please speak up? From Russia Federation. Okay, maybe if there is no anyone yet, if you have any question for this paper, after that we can convey your question to the author. And then the second is from Mr. Wurara with the title of Towards an Eco-Industrial Development in West Papua Economy. If you have any question, please prepare your question. And then the third is Towards a Low Carbon Solid Waste Management in West Papua, okay, by Ms. Saraswati Prabhawardhani. Okay, so now is for, we would like to check if there is any question with the QA in the chat room. No, Mr. Rico, would you help me maybe to select if anyone raised a hand to ask the
Please,
question?
if there is any question from all of you participants, please, you can chat or you can raise hand.
Maybe while we are waiting for a question from the participants, I would like to give some suggestion to, to the second presenter. To Mr. Ruli Novi Wurara. There's your conclusions are too much, you know. It's a so actually I would like to simply understand how you answer the question of your research question, of course, towards an eco-industrial development in West Papua economy. Since the how to say, the conclusion is too much, maybe next time when you're presenting it, you should make it more simple, make it as one or maybe 2-3 points, because it was too many. Okay, so maybe my question for you is Uh, so how is the involvement of the, because this is eco-industrial development, how is the current industrial development, and what is the main obstacles for to improve, to develop the eco-industrial in West Papua in perspective of economic? Can you maybe give some argument for this?
Okay, thank you. About the current industrial sector.
Yes.
Yes, okay. In the West Papua, in this research, the study includes the coal industry and the oil and gas refining industry from the industrial sector to avoid double counting emission, because the emission from this two industrial sector is calculated in energy sector. And this research just focus the industrial like the non-metal mineral industry, cement, and the food beverage industry, and timber product of wood, bamboo, pattern, and leather industry. And maybe this industry must be the control by the government to produce the product and control the emission gas. I think so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ruli Noviwurara. It's very clear for us for your answer. Thank you so much. And what do you think, Mr. Rico? Do we still have enough time for a question, or we can go to the next session?
If there is no question, I think we can move, Ibu Pamari. We can still.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we can ask maybe once again. Is there any questions?
Okay, we can ask again. Dear participant, we have many participants in our room. About 58 people are joining now. Please, if you have any question, don't hesitate. Just raise your hand here. You can address the question to speaker Mr. Ruli Noviwurara or Ms. Saraswati Prabhawardhani, maybe. Or anyone here would like just only to hear.
I think if there is no question, we can move to the next presenter.
Really? Okay. So, yeah, time is running so fast. And maybe Miss Saraswati Prabhawardhani, after this, I will ask you.
Okay.
I have a question for you, but it's okay because we should move to the next. Maybe I will chat the question and you can answer the question by chatting. Okay, I'm very sorry because the time is very limited. Okay. Thank you very much for Mr. Ruli Noviwurara and Ms. Saraswati Prabhawardhani for your great presentation and joining. And after this, please, you can, ask some question, or maybe you can convey your argument to another presenters. Okay, and now we are going to move to the next session for the next three presenters. Okay, before we continue, I would like to express our highest appreciation again to the GSSED, right? For GESSD for organizing the conference, and also the APIK Indonesia Network for collaborating, and also now become the host of this session. Okay. And then we are going to move to the fourth presenter. The title will be a scenario for West Papua contribution for NDC from forestry sector. I would like to call the author here, Dr. Henry. Okay, Dr. Henry, are you joining with us now?
Yeah, I join in here.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now we are going to play your video. Committee,
Time.
please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and best how for all participants. Today, I would like to present my research with the title Scenario for West Papua Contribution for the NDC from Forestry Sector. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Henry, and working at the University of Papua together with my colleagues, Bu Saraswati Prabhawardhani and Bu Kati Samsudin. This research is also collaborate with the University of Indonesia with Pak Mahawan Karuniasa and also Environmental Institute Indonesia with Ms. Wetnas Pradavitri. Contents for my talk consists of introduction. We talk about the mega biodiversity versus the deforestation and economic growth with the low carbon development planning. Methodology, we talk about the dynamic system modeling with the concept, stock flow diagram, and validation. Results, we talk about the business as usual, countermeasures 1 with a 29% reduction by own effort, and countermeasure 2 with a 41% reduction with by the foreign assistance up to 2030, and NDC forestry sector in West Papua. And the last part, conclusion, we talk the balancing between the mitigation and economic using the green development. Introduction. In the background, we use the SWOT analysis to introduce the general framework and try to find what the purpose and the problem for our research. The strengths for our study is coming from the mega biodiversity and the 3 ecological regions in the South. This is the coastal area, mainland area, and highland area, which are home to the third largest tropical rainforest in the world. Therefore, the forest is still maintaining the endemic flora and fauna and several unknown species. On the other hand, West Papua, as you know, is the youngest province in Indonesia that is still facing for the poverty, especially for the indigenous people in the rural area. Based on the Central Statistic Agency 2020, the poverty rate of the West Papua is categorized as the second national ranking, or about 21.51%. Therefore, the economic machine and strategy are need to develop to anticipate the condition. Our government is already on the track which does still maintain the economic growth with the gross regional domestic product, GRDP, and in Bahasa we call it PDRB, up to the 4.87% per year. So well done and good effort for our government. For the external factor, the threat is sourced from deforestation and degradation, while the degradation rate is up to the 1.05% and deforestation rate 2.41% per year. Deforestation and degradation is mostly come from the oil plantation. It's gained up to the 1.1 million hectare. And the other is come from forest fire due to the El Nino phenomena in the 2015, and consensus of several companies engaged in forestry and mining sector. Besides that, West Papua still have the opportunity to preserve this paradise with the policy strategy with the release of the Manokwari Declaration during the International Conference on Biodiversity by the Research and Development Agency 2018. The important point of the Manokwari Declaration are to conserve 70% of its territory as the conservation area and to improve the welfare of indigenous people. It's known as Sustainable Development Province. In 2020, Bappenas and West Papua Province made a MOU regarding to implement low carbon development program in the West Papua. So based on all the SWOT analysis, the researchers aim to simulate the NDC contribution for a long-term low carbon sustainable development with considering environmental, social, and economic sector. Methodology. The method is used for this research is a dynamic modeling with a power sim tank. Several variables are needed for the simulation. We can see in the table. The variable are total GLDP of forestry sector, deforestation and degradation, emission, and the last forest management data. With the value and parameter unit and estimation method, you can look in this table. The model will be validated using the absolute mean error with differences, actual value, and simulation data. The stock flow diagram in the below shows the economic variable used in this figure is investment, capital, acre from the forestry and non-forestry sector. And after that, we calculate the total GRDP and the GRDP from the forestry sector. Henceforth, the forestry sector GRDP will be used to see the correlation with the rate of deforestation and degradation. After that, the forestation and degradation data will become the emission data, and with the emission factor of forestry, we calculate the emission factor. For the stock flow diagram NDC to 2030, we add several variables that you can look in the red color line. So we add the variable of forestry emission 2030, business as usual, emission reduction, countermeasures 1 with the 69.6% reduction, and countermeasure 2, 91.0%, which are used to calculate the emission target. After that, the emission target together with the emission fraction will calculate the forest use management. For the simulation analysis, forestry GRDP figure shows the countermeasure 1 and countermeasure 2 decreased by 71.6% and 90.9% from the BEU scenario. Meanwhile, the total GRDP is also decreased by 5.9% for the countermeasure 1 and 6.6% from countermeasure 2. As the graph emission for the forestry sector, it can be seen that where emission reduction is 0.28 time, or reducing 71.6% for the countermeasure 1 and 0.02 or 90.9% reduction for the countermeasures 2, with the emission target accounted 25.3 million ton CO2 equivalent for countermeasure 1 and 7.5 million ton CO2 equivalent for the countermeasure 2. So to make a balancing mitigation and economic, we apply the green development with the first policy to identify of company permits located in the forest area, and the second policy to collaborate with Bappenas in implementing the low carbon development program at the provincial level. And the third, for the economic sector, promoting downstream industry for the non-timber forest product such as nutmeg oil, masohi oil, eucalyptus oil, cacao, coffee, and the others. And the last, economic. And then for the conclusion, based on the business as usual, the forest management model can be used to predict deforestation and degradation quite well, and can predict 70% forest cover until 2030. Using the forest simulation model, we still keep maintain 85 until 87% forest cover in West Papua from the business as usual scenario. And the last conclusion, we need to develop low carbon development from forestry sector by considering the green economic for forest sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Dr. Henry for your good presentation. Anyone? Participants, please, you can write your question in the chat room. Okay, if you have any question now before you forget it, you can soon type your question in the chat room, and after that we will ask to the presenter after 3 presentations. Okay, so Dr. Henry, maybe you can also check the question in the chat room. It seems that we already have the question, and after that you can prepare for the answer first, and then you can answer during the question and answer session after 3 presentation. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Henry. And okay, everyone, now we move to the next presentation. It's about carbon low carbon energy model in West Papua from Mr. Friendly Wihanto, okay, from the Faculty of Agricultural Technology, University of Papua, Indonesia. Okay, I'm sure that Mr. Friendly Wihanto already joining with us. I already. Could you please
Okay.
speak up,
Uh,
Mr.
I'm
Wihanto?
here. I'm here, ma'am.
Okay, you're.
Are you join?
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so we are going to play your video, right? For the committee, could you please play the video? You can start now. Thank you.
Good condition and safe in this pandemic time. My name is Friendly Wehanto. I'm from Faculty of Agricultural Technology,
Committee,
University
I'm
of
sorry, I
Papua,
think the voice is
Indonesia.
very
I would like to
small,
present
the
my
volume.
model in West Papua.
Committee, please could you
This is the before I do my
restart
research.
This is already the maximum volume.
the maximum volume? I am afraid. To can I ask to everyone here? Can you hear the voice of the presentation now? Can you please
Years before pandemic
Yes,
maybe
yes,
COVID-19,
yes, we can
Indonesia
hear.
has experienced a stable
it's
macroeconomic
it's
growth
it's
since
not
the last
too
decade.
small?
As of 2011, Indonesia is proclaimed as one of
I'm
the
sorry
10
because
biggest
for me
countries
it's
in
very
terms of
small.
nominal GDP.
Yeah,
Despite of
Ibu.
that,
Okay, the
Indonesia
committee, can
continues
you
to struggle with
pause? Can you pause a moment? Yeah, Ibu Komari, I think this the problem in the video is that the maximal volume.
Hmm?
So I think we have the two options. The first, we continue to play the video, or the
Hmm?
second option maybe Mr. Friendly can give the live presentation if uh, he or she is available to give the
Okay.
live presentation.
So some audience already said that the audio is too low also. They cannot hear very well. I'm sure it will be unfortunately if we cannot hear the audio very good. So I will give the option to Mr. Wei Handel. Would you like to present it live with using the share screen and your audio now live, or you want to just go on with this very low volume audio of your video?
I already sent my
Hmm?
revision,
Yes.
but can I share screen my video,
Yeah,
my
I think
revision?
yes, I think that will be much better
Yeah.
for us to make it easily to understand your presentation because yeah, it's too bad if we cannot hear the audio well. Thank you so much, Miss Hue Hanto. Uh,
Committee maybe can make the Mr. Wehanto as the co-host because he would like to share his video in his screen.
I think I cannot make Mr. Friendly to be a co-host. I think we should contact the host to make Friendly to be a co-host.
I see. Or Mr. Wehanto, what if we play your video, but that will be very difficult. Uh, Committee, how what we what we should do best by asking Mr. Wehanto to send the video by WhatsApp, maybe, so we can share screen.
I already sent my revision to
Okay,
Mr.
okay,
Priaji,
okay.
my
So
revision.
okay,
Maybe you can get my file from him.
sorry. Okay, Miss
Okay, let me check with
Committee.
Mr. Raji.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone, I'm very sorry. If you don't mind, do you mind if we postpone your presentation while the committee will looking for your file, and we go to the next presentation. Maybe sorry.
It's okay, ma'am. It's
Is
okay.
it okay? Okay,
Okay.
so maybe by that we can make the time more efficient. I'm
Okay.
very sorry. I hope you understand, and thank you very much for your understanding, Mr. Wehanto. We are very sorry for this technical problem. I'm not sure whether if the next presenter from Vietnam, Miss or Mr. Nguyen Thi Ngoc. I don't know how to spell this, how to pronounce this. From Vietnam, Mr. or Miss Nguyen Thi Ngoc, are you here now? I I'm I don't see. She's here. Okay. Uh, Committee, if you already found the file, please tell me soon. Please tell us soon. Okay. Okay. Now I think presenter number 6 doesn't. It's not joining it. Committee, do you have the video recording for this Nguyen Thi Ngoc presentation?
We still don't have the video until now.
Okay, so maybe we can move to, actually it will be the next session, but before because one presenter is not joining and no video documentation, so we would like to call the next presenter, which is Miss Rahmatia Ayuwidyaningrum. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much. Your presentation is entitled Eco-phenomenology and the Local Concept in Bugis Agriculture based on Kutika manuscript. And you already sent your video. So Mr. Wehanto, we ask for your apologize, but while we are searching for your file, we are going to present Ms. Rahmatia's video first. Is it okay?
Okay, ma'am. It's okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, committee, you can play the next video.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Rahmatia. I'm the first author of this paper. Today, I will presenting my paper's theme, that is Eco-phenomenology in the Local Concept of Buginese Agriculture based on Kutika manuscript. Before entering the main discussion, I would like to open my presentation with the question: do you already know what the Kutika manuscript is? Then, what is the correlation between the Kutika manuscript and the title of this article? So, what the significance of this discussion in the context of contemporary research? To answer all questions, I will explain through four stages method. Firstly, give an introduction about the meaning of Kutika manuscript and corpus used in this research. Second, describe the philological method used to translate the Kutika script. Third, linking the text analysis with the concept of eco-phenomenology. Fourth, providing a summary and conclusion from this discussion. So let's begin. Kutika is a manuscript that contains the tradition of day calculation among Buginese community. Generally, Kutika is defined as collection of good and bad time record to carry out activity. The corpus of this research is a manuscript which comes from Mulawarman Museum collection in East Kalimantan with title Kutika Ugi Saku Rupa or KUSR. This manuscript is one of collection of various counting methods and having a multi-character manuscript. And then this is a one of digital version of Kutika manuscript. This research departs from philological studies as an effort to introduce the local knowledge of Bugis people in agriculture. This research applies a philological approach with a split critical edition method to open the manuscript access. Through a philological approach, the important aspects of Bugini's agricultural techniques can be identified, such as determining planting time, use of biopesticide, and crop rotation technique. The KUSR text contains several methods of calculating days and time. However, this paper will focus on one calculation system for determining planting time in agricultural activity, namely Putika Pakulu Jange. The philosophical element of timing show how beginners human talk to nature, read the sign, and treat nature as an equal element, not as an object. This triggered us to see it from eco-phenomenology perspective. The eco-phenomenology approach in this study relies on Heidegger ontological relationship as stated by Saras Dewi. The significance this discussion in the context of contemporary research. Departing from the study of philology, this paper describes the form of local knowledge possessed by the Bugis in agriculture through the Kutika manuscript. The eco-phenomenology approach is an attempt to describe the way Bugis humans talk to nature. For the first time, this study linked two different themes into a single interconnected unit. The Kutika manuscript, which has been limited to determining good and bad days, has entered a new, more fundamental area in philosophical level. Generally, efforts in opening the access to manuscript are not only at the level of description, but also to break down the rule of an ancient manuscript into an applicable science to solve contemporary problems, especially in agriculture. Bugini's local knowledge in agricultural techniques based on Kutika manuscript. The Kutika text is closely related to the traditional calculation science and environmental conservation. Traditional calculation science in KUSR serve to find out how Bugis people see nature. We can see in the point number 1, explain the use of organic fertilizer and biopesticide. Number 2, planting system based on natural guidelines or bioindicator. And number 3, Bugis people have believed that nature has a soul and must be respected. From point number 1, through the above quotation, box 1, it can be seen that Bugini's agricultural science has recognized vegetable pesticides derived from oyster shells, tamarind, and starfruit for control pests. And for bioindicator technique, Wednesday afternoon is a good for planting. It related with the Putika Pakulu Jango or PPG table. We can see in the table Wednesday afternoon 3 to 5 p.m. range is included is a mustari time. Look at in the right line. This time is the best time for any activity, especially for planting. Eco-phenomenology in the Buginese agriculture. Through KUSR, it can be seen how humans talk to nature, perceiving nature not as an object but as an equal entity. Since ancient time, Bugis people have believed that nature has a soul and must be respected. This is clearly seen in the text quotation box 1 and 2. In the box 1, the sentence Tarona Beruange, which means safe for pests, indicates that in cultivation technique, pests are not killed but are fed first. Bugini's view, pets are not enemies but friends who should be kindly treated. In the box 2, Matalunru is the name for the soil that is mentioned in the ritual before planting. This is related to the existence of Rijalul Gaib, which also described in the KUSR text too. The existence of Rijalul Gaib, the concept of Bugini's truth can be categorized as the concept of transcendence in the Heidegger's reflection. Heidegger's concept of transcendence considers nature as a part of the world of subject that has its own value. That value can only be revealed when the subject is involved with nature. In that sense, as long as the subject doesn't shut down from real knowledge of nature. Mentioned in the research method, this paper only analyzed the Kutika manuscript from collection of Mulawarman Museum, entitled Kutika Ugi Sake Rupa or KUSR. Therefore, this study is very specific. The research results mentioned above show the important role of the KUSR text describing agricultural techniques as well as local understanding that can be applied in a wider life orders. The knowledge that come from 100 years ago is actually needed as an alternative to solve today's environmental problem. So for the further research, we hope that there will be further studies through different approaches in parsing the contribution of Kutika text to environmental issues. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. Salamaki, topada salama.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Rahmatia Ayu Widyaningrum. Wow, it's a great presentation. We are discussing about an old script, right? It's based of the culture in Bugis, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe there will be some question after this, for me too, actually. So maybe while we are waiting for the question, we are we will move. Okay, so maybe after this you can monitor the chat room if there's any question for you, and while we are still working on the Mr. Sorry, we are still working for the technical problem for Mr. Wihanto video. I hope because we still have two presentations, I hope Mr. Wihanto doesn't mind to wait until the next session, um, be, be, until we can solve your video problem. We would like to invite the next presenter, and then after that question and answer session. Is that okay, Mr. Friendly Hanto?
It's
If
okay, ma'am.
we, it's okay. Okay,
Yeah,
we are
you
very,
may
we are
continue.
terribly sorry for these technical problems, but the show must go on, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so because we still have two presentations, so the next we would like to invite um, about tourist preference on the attraction of beach tourism objects in Kebumen Regency, Central Java Province, which will be presented by Miss Siti Astariningsi Setio Putri. Are you here, Miss Setio Putri? Or the representative? The presenter for this paper, is it here? Siti Astariningsi Setio Putri or Ratri Chandra Restuti or Dewi Susilowati, MH. Is there anyone here? Okay, so Astariningsi. Okay, thank you very much. So we already have you with us now, and we are going to play the video. Anyone, if you have any question, please chat in the chat, type in the chat room. But for the presenter, uh, you don't have to answer directly in the chat room. If you have the time to answer it directly after. Okay, so please don't answer in the chat room. But if your session is finished, you can answer it in the chat room. Okay, but if your time, the question and answer of your session is not finished yet, please answer directly when the presentation is finished. Okay, so please wait. Don't answer until you ask you to answer directly. Okay, okay. Committee, please play the presentation.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Siti Astariningsi Setyaputri from Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, University.
Okay, I think we have the same problem here.
Yeah, I think this is the same problem. The volume is too low.
Okay,
Of Indonesia.
so
I am student of undergraduate program. Today, I'm going to
I'm
present
sorry.
my
So
research.
I think we cannot push to continue this because we we cannot hear it. It's too bad if we just go it flow, but no one understand what has been presented because the volume of the audio is too low. So committee, is that the maximum volume you can go with?
Yes, this is the maximum volume.
Okay. Can you play again?
Title is
Play, please.
Tourist Preference on the Attractions of Beach Tourism
Okay.
Objects in Kalimantan
Pause, please.
Agency,
Pause, please.
Central Jakarta.
Okay. Um, Miss Astari Ningsi, you are with us, right? Um, okay, Miss Astari. Okay, is it possible for you to um make a live presentation?
I'm too nervous for live
Hello,
presentation.
hello. Your audio volume is too small. Is it possible for you to to present live with your PPT? Oh, I'm very sorry. I think your voice is too small. Committee, can we? I'm very sorry, but can we postpone this too?
Yeah, Bu, I think I agree with you. We need
Okay.
to postpone the video
Okay.
from Ibu. Who is the name? Astrianingsi.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
Miss.
And I think
Yes.
and I think committee has already provide the video for Mr. Wawahantu.
Okay. So for
Maybe we
Miss.
can.
Okay, Miss We Hanto, the technical problems is resolved. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mr. Friendly We Hanto, your video is ready now. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so anyone, please pay attention to this presentation. If you have any question, please ask. Type in the chat room. Thank you. Okay, let's go with the presentation. Um, is it PPT or video? Please wait. We are trying to resolve this problem.
Of 2011, Indonesia is proclaimed as one of the 10 biggest
Okay,
countries in the terms of nominal GDP.
this is good.
But
Can we
the favorable financial
replay?
market and steady growth, Indonesia will
Copy, can you pause and replay from the beginning?
Hello everyone, I hope all of you in a good condition and safe during this COVID-19 pandemic. My name is Rene Wehanto. I am from Faculty of Agricultural Technology, University of Papua, Indonesia. Today I would like to present my research about low carbon energy model in West Papua. This is the background of my research. Years before pandemic COVID-19, Indonesia has experienced a stable macroeconomic growth since the last decade. As of 2011, Indonesia is proclaimed as one of the 10 biggest countries in the terms of nominal GDP. In spite of the favorable financial market and steady growth, Indonesia still battles with poverty and unemployment, lacking infrastructure, corruption, and many more. Despite being a forest-rich province, poverty in West Papua is rampant, although the trend shows some improvement. If the focus on development is shifted from business as usual to sustainable management plan, West Papua can better advance the target as set under NDC plans in parallel with ensuring social prosperity on the ground. Current investment model in West Papua is still determined by the high emission intensity industry such as cement industry, road infrastructure, oil and gas extraction, and among others. Consequently, it creates broad development with high emitting operational tools to generate economy. With the current scenario of experiencing such circumstances, will more likely create adverse effects of environmental damage in the long run. A carbon energy model in Indonesia has been developed by SADLI. However, there is no research about low carbon energy model in West Papua, especially using energy GRDP and emission as variable. The objective of this research is to build a low carbon economy model on energy sector. This is the method I use to construct my system dynamic model. First is concept crafting, second is modeling, third is model simulation, and the last validation process. The data I use in my research is gained by incorporating relevant indicators of social and economy, mainly from National Value Statistics and Bank of Indonesia report. The selected indicators were determined through expert elicitation to map the key elements involved under the low carbon development scenario. Forestry is used to design causal loop diagram and flow diagram and run the model. This is what we found in our research. As we see in the slide, the figure is flow diagram of low carbon energy intervention in West Papua. West Papua Energy Capital will positively increase GDP energy. And then the GDP energy will positively increase the West Papua energy investment. This relationship creates a reinforcement causal loop diagram. Then the GDP energy will increase the energy emission, and the energy emission will increase the number of energy investment, and then the number of energy investment will increase West Papua energy investment. This relationship will create a new or second reinforcement causal loop diagram. 41% emission reduction is an intervention in this flow diagram. This slide shows the validation result of energy GRDP. The table shows that the AME value is 4.96%. This value indicates that the AME value is above 0.3, which means that the model is valid. Figure A represents the simulation GRDP of West Papua province. As predicted, GRDP energy bound increases from about 23 billion in 2010 to 1 billion in. This condition is favorable for the economic development. But on the other hand, prediction business as usual conditions without intervention until 2030 show the gradual increase of West Papua reaching about over than 14 gigaton CO2 equivalent in 2030. As we see in the slide, the figure is West Papua energy GRDP with intervention of NDC 41%. The implementation of NDC 41% resulting a slow increase of GRDP, line gray, compared with NDC 29% and low scenario. West Papua province GRDP increased from about 23 billion in 2010 to about 47 billion in 2030. or almost double from baseline GRDP. In compared to bound scenario, this figure is half of the estimate. Furthermore, the figure represents the West Papua emission with intervention NDC 29%. The intervention scenario will show emission increase down, but remains below the 2030 emission target. The implementation of NDC 29% will reduce emissions to a half amount CO2 equivalent compared to business as usual scenario, or about 230 gigaton CO2 equivalent in 2030. As the conclusion of this research, the best case scenario for CO2 emission during simulation up to 2030 is at about 14 gigaton CO2 per year in average. If the NDC 29% intervention implemented on ground, CO2 emission could level down to 10 gigaton CO2 per year, or 25%. Further research is needed by including cross-sectoral variables, for example, environmental and social in West Papua, to establish a whole picture of the low carbon economy policy in the province. At the end, we would like to thank Tracking and Strengthening Climate Action project funded by International Climate Initiative for providing financial and technical support during the development of this proceeding.
Okay, I think that's finished.
Finish.
Okay, thank you very much. Finally, for Mr. Feni Wihanto, it's a great presentation, and it's a valuable knowledge for all of us. Thank you for your sharing. Okay, so everyone, we reached to already 3 presenters for the second session, and I can see in the chat room that Dr. Henry already asked some questions from Pak Januar, and also from, sorry, let me see, from Bu Mila, right? Okay, it's very clear here, the answer. But I think let's invite Bu Gusti Ayu. Okay, would you like to ask question directly to Dr. Henry? Bu Gusti Ayu, are you with us now? Okay, no, not yet. She disappeared. Maybe after this. Okay, Bu Gusti Ayu, please. I see that you would like to ask question to Dr. Henry.
Okay.
Okay, please.
Thank you. But actually, I'm already sent my question to the form. So you sending my email,
Okay.
and already fill in the question and answer form. But if I have to,
yes. Yes, we already received the question. But if you would like to ask now directly, that will be fine too.
Okay, thank you.
Please. Yes, please.
Okay, so good afternoon, Dr. Henry. So thank you so much. And I'm already read your presentation. That's actually this morning, early morning, because I just received email about this conference will be start 8:30. So I'm already prepare everything, and then I'm open all the material in the morning. So that's interesting about green economy in Papua. So actually I'm work in IDEP Foundation. That's actually already trial the green economic program in West Papua, and also in some area in Wamena, and also in Manokwari, Numfor Island. So that's interesting about this program. But in one of the program, what I know, that's about plantation and processing sago and cacao. that's also providing opportunity to convert the forest into a production area. And this will be like a big scale and massively monocrop plantation. And my question actually, when Dr. Henry, that's maybe you see the long-term mitigation about this when the government doing this program and then make the policy about this and give like make regulation about how the people or community can do exploration in the forest. They already have like long-term mitigation and how they can make sure that the balancing about the social, environmental, and the economic in this program. So that's my curious actually with the research. So maybe you have some information that's also will be very helpful because my organization also have quite a lot program in the eastern of Indonesia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bu Gusti, for the very long question. Okay, Dr. Henry, please respond to the question.
Okay, thank you, Bu Gusti Ayu, for your question. Yeah, thank you also. You already make a lot, yeah, in our West Papua, especially for the green economy. Yeah, as you know, for the forest, we have several, how to say it, part like forest, yeah, forest, uh,
I think I
forest
cannot hear Pak
and
Henry.
conservation forest or
Clearly.
other changing area. How maybe for the protected area, but you can use the or conversion land use. I think it's much better. So for my presentation already mentioned, we still want to keep 70% for our forest. So this our target. So right now still in 88%. Yeah, so maybe we can use the forest until later up to 70%. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, Dr.
Thank you, Chair.
Henry, we are very sorry, but it seems that your connection doesn't go very well. Sometimes it's poor, but sometimes it's okay. So maybe after this, you can also type the short, the brief answer to Ibu
Okay.
Gusti.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so uh, actually, the committee asked me to go to the next presenter, but if you don't mind, we would like to answer. There's one question from my colleague. It's from Dr. Prabang Setiono. I think this question go to Miss Widya Ningrum. What is the relationship between ecophenology, local wisdom, or local genius? Can you answer this?
Hello?
Okay, Miss Widya Ningrum. Rahmatia Ayu
Yes.
Widya Ningrum. There's
Yeah.
one question in
Yeah.
the chat box. Can you answer
Yeah,
that?
thank you, moderator. Yeah, thank you for your attention, Sir Prabang Setiono. I think it's a good question, and I think for correlation, they have something to do with each other because the Kutika manuscript that I studied contain issues of environmental awareness, and it was correlated with the concept of eco-phenomenology, which promotes by Saras Dewi, and which look back at the relationship between human and nature. But I want to underline here because the reference data has been influenced by Sufism to notion that have a soul have a nature have a soul, and it's doesn't mean that nature is treated like a human, but rather understand that what is taken from nature will be returned in another form of life. This for my answer. I hope it answers your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Widyaningrum. I think it's very clear. And if Dr. Prabang, if you still have any feedback, please chat to you can type in the chat room. And after that, Miss Widyaningrum can respond to your feedback. Okay, everyone. Now we will go to the next presenter, to the third session, the final session. Okay, so we would like to call for the next presenter. We still have the problem with the technical problem with Miss Siti Astarining Sisatya Putri for the video play. So um we will call the next presenter. I'm very sorry for Miss Setya Putri. While we are discussing with the committee for what we should do with your presentation, we will ask for your permission to call for the next presenter. It's Miss Umi Muawana. The title is Assessment of the Governance of Fisheries Management at Fishery Management Area in Indonesia. Okay, so Miss Umi Muawana, are you here with us? Or the representative of Miss Umi Muawana? Here, Nendah Kunyasari, Radityo Pramoda, Armen Zulham, or Latif Fatul Rashida from Research Center for Marine and Fisheries Socio-Economic, Jakarta, Indonesia. Anyone here? Hello? For this paper?
Hello. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you. You're okay.
We
You're
already sent the videos.
Okay. Okay.
Because she's now in the field to in Bitung.
Of course, Miss Latifah Rashida. We will play your video now. Committee, please play the video.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Umi from MMF, and I would like to present the study on assessment of institutional fisheries management areas in Indonesia. Three regulations that had been the foundation for this fisheries management institution. One is the decree, MMF Decree 33 on the institution structure, and then the long-term development plan put emphasis on the governance of fisheries management area, and also the SDGs 14. And this is the overview of fisheries management area in Indonesia. We have 11 of them, and we see it here. It's in the Indian Ocean, face Indian Ocean. We have one with bordering with South China Sea, and then we have two around the Pacific Oceans, and all of them we have 11. And this is sort of a management unit of the fisheries in Indonesia. We've depend heavily on literature reviews, in-depth interview with policymakers, and then field observation, field survey, and process observation during the fisheries management plan review and monitoring at MMF level. And then we also did qualitative analysis on legal reviews and formal analysis of each unit tax of WBP institution. The formal analysis means comparing between the tasks and rules of each unit within the institution, within the institution, between the written rules and tasks and the existing condition, and then we do analysis and what things to improve. So this is the legal backgrounds on the WPP governance or FMA governance. We've had the strategic plan, and then the presidential decree on long-term development plan, and mostly the law 23 2015 on the local governments or the decentralization. This has some more implication on how this regional or FMA level institution to manage fisheries would operate under the circumstances. So Law 23 has some implication on the fisheries management authorities. One is that the district level has no authorities at all to implement policy making or utilization or monitoring or zonation or even coordination and licensing and permits. And this authority has given back to the regional government. And then this law has also encouraged the establishment of UPTD at province level. UPTD is a ministry, is a fisheries office at the district level, but belongs to the province. But also there is also MF Decree 21 2015 has encouraged partnership with any partners at local level in managing resources. So basically the law 23 implication has urged more on coordinating the authority and coordination between national and local, and then this platform as a regional platform for to smooth or to integrate the coordination between province and national government. So this is in the degree how the structure. We have the national structure of the fisheries management headed by the MMAF, and then they have national secretariat. But in each WPPs or FMS, we have this sort of fisheries institution, and in each of these boxes actually consists of these parties. We have the commission. This is where the decision being made, and then we have the coordinator executive with all the task force and for data collection, for the data and then analysis and everything, and to be fed into the coordinator executive who will coordinate the meeting of the commission. And the commission is actually the head of the fisheries offices at province level. This is scientific and panel consultative provides recommendation to the commission on fisheries management in that particular area. This is how things are working in this institution, being endorsed by MF Decree number 23 2000. And this is our analysis. We have, based on governance indicators such as participation, social interaction, social sustainability, resource sustainability, equity, and authority, we've compared the existing condition with the existing condition and what things to be done in the in ideal condition. So the commission is the box where the management being taken. We've seen like for social interaction, we've seen the gap in structural position between executive coordinator and members of commission. So members of commission usually head of the fisheries office at the province level, and the executive coordinating agency ideally is a non-structural professional full-time staff instead of head of the fishing port, for example, as right now. That's why there is a gap in it. And then we have some good equity with how the national and local government sharing and quota determination and everything. That's for the commission. Next, the consultative panel actually consists of industries, NGOs, fishermen representatives. So in here we see like the traditional leader representing the communities or the traditional fishers usually less represented here. So that's one thing. And then we have within the panel we have group pro sustainability and cons to the sustainability depending on their interest. So the head or the chair of this panel should be well able to communicate those interests. And then they have no authority. They only have recommendation to the commission right now. The scientific panel is actually the scientists and scientific studies on the mostly on those universities in that FMA, and they provide the recommendation needed for regional fisheries management institution. So the gap is between there is scientific gap between local university and national university center. So they need for example, for the stock assessment, the majority is still being dominated by the national research center. And the task force, we have 3 task force: data utilization, compliance. So basically, task force is preparing everything, including data analysis and everything, to be as a reference for the commission when they try to decide on the management measures. But this equity issue. There is a gap capacity between the members from the national and provincial government in this panel for each FMS. It has no authority, just recommendation, and resource sustainability are good. The best data available being to inform the decision making process, but social sustainability we don't know yet. And there is no regular schedules for this task force either right now for implementing the fisheries management institution. So in summaries, this fisheries management area institution, it has the MMF decree number 33, 2019 as a strong foundation for this institution to perform and to be operationalized. Although they are still weak, the institution role and tasks are being exercised are still being low, and the coordination among unit task forces are still weak. The role of national government in facilitating the operation is still very strong. So that's our presentation, and thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much, Miss Latifatul Rashida. Maybe after this you can prepare yourself for any question. And audience, if you have any question, please prepare your question. You can type first in the chat room before you forget your question. Okay, so the next presenter, so committee, do we still have problem with presentation from Miss Siti Astariningsi Setia Putri?
Yes,
Should
yes,
we
madam.
go? Okay, we still cannot play it yet.
No, we cannot play it.
Okay, okay. Miss Setio Putri, are you still with us? Miss Setio Putri? Or the representative maybe? Rati Chanda, no? Let's hear for 5 seconds if there's any response. Not yet? Okay, so maybe we can go to the next presenter. Is it okay? Sorry, maybe we can go to the next presenter is Eva Rahmawati, entitled Factors Influence Rural Community Involvement in Tourism Development in Indonesia, from Department of Forest Resource Conservation and Ecotourism, Faculty of Forestry, IPB University. Miss Eva Rahmawati, are you with us now?
Yes, Miss, I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much. We will play your presentation now. Committee, please.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone, first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Eva Rahmawati. I'm a lecturer at Department of Forest Resource Conservation and Ecotourism, Faculty of Forestry, IPB University.
In this opportunity, I want to share my research with title Factors Influence Rural Community Involvement in Tourism Development in Indonesia. As we all might know, that community involvement is an important factor in achieving sustainable tourism development. By involved in the development process, hopefully, the community will have their say regarding the kind of the development they want to conduct in their area. They will also could design the impact they want to get from the tourism development. However, literature has noted that many factors could limit community involvement. One of the recognized factors in the literature is the top-down approach in the planning or in the decision-making process in the development, which often apparent in the developing country context. Therefore, the limitation of top-down approach led to the emergence of a bottom-up approach. This approach, the bottom-up approach, is expected could enhance community involvement in the tourism development. The main purpose of this study is to get empirical evidence that the bottom-up approach is really could enhance community involvement in tourism development. This study also aims to identify the factors that could influence community involvement in the rural community. To prove those approach theory, which is that the bottom-up approach will give more opportunity for community to involve than the top-down approach, the study was conducted at two villages that has different approach in the tourism planning or decision-making process in the tourism development. The first village is the Perkebunan Bukit Lawang with its top-down approach, and the second one is Namo Sialang, or mostly people known Tangkahan. Both villages is located in the North Sumatra in Medan, and Tangkahan or Namo Sialang it famous with its bottom-up approach. The method used in this study is a case study and a mixed method approach, such as a household survey and participatory observation. As you can see on the slide, the result from this research is quite surprising. In the decision-making process in the tourism development, the village with the bottom-up approach has fewer respondents who involved in the process than the village with the top-down approach. Those who involve in the decision-making process, mostly men, which is not surprising. It's a common phenomenon in the most area. A certain ethnic group, in this case is Carones, and those who live closer to the tourism center. The study indicates several limiting factors such as community culture, which is norm and value, that limit certain community group, which is the women and other ethnic group, to involve in the process. Both villages are located in Medan, North Sumatra, where Carones is become the indigenous people and make the Javanese as an outsider. This value furthermore limit Javanese to involve in the decision-making process. Another factor that rarely discussed in the literature is the geographical factor, in this case is peripherality. Both villages divide into several hamlets, and the distance from the tourism center range from 0 to 13 km. This condition makes certain hamlets become peripheral area, and those who stay in the peripheral has limited opportunity to involve since they have less access to the tourism resource. The study also indicates that enabling factor for community involvement is education. Education related to the information and knowledge, which is widely known as the important factor in improving community involvement in tourism development. Similar with the result of involvement in the decision-making process, the respondent who involved in tourism industry in the village with the top-down approach is also higher than the village with the bottom-up approach. The factors that could enhance or limit the involvement are also similar. However, for the involvement in tourism industry, relationship or kinship also play important role in providing the opportunity to involve. Those who has husband or friend in the tourism area They can get more opportunity to involve in the tourism industry than those respondents who doesn't have friend or close relative in the area. From the result in the previous slide, we can see that education and networking are few factors that could enhance community involvement in tourism development. Education could give people more knowledge and information so they can get more opportunity to involve. While for networking, it could also give people more access to tourism resources such as access to the information. For example, people who has friends in the tourism center could get more information related tourism job than those who do not have friends in the area. The study result shown several factors that could limit community involvement. For example, the culture, it could limit women opportunity to involve, and the culture also limit other ethnic group to involve, in this case the Javanese. For information, since knowledge and information play a greater role in giving opportunity to involve, therefore the asymmetric distribution could limit certain people to involve in the tourism development. For lack of capital, it's a common phenomenon that rural people has less capital than urban people, which furthermore influence the opportunity to build tourism industry. For lack of supporting regulation, since the government do not have a formal regulation related to the involvement, it causes the community to create their own, which is sometimes limit other members to involve, which furthermore, this condition could form an elite domination in the area. An interesting finding is that geographical factor, in this case is peripherality, could also affect community to involve in the development. Those villagers who stay far from the tourism center usually do not have the same opportunity to involve in tourism development than those who live near the tourism center. Finally, to conclude, this research gives empirical evidence that the bottom-up approach actually could not achieve the expected result. Many factors related to the community context, such as the community culture and the elite domination, they should be considered when we want to apply the approach. Okay, this is my last slide, which is this thank you slide. If any one of you want to ask question, you can ring me in this number or just send me email. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Eva Rahmawati, for your nice presentation and also the detailed contact if anyone would like to ask you more questions. However, the time is very limited now, and through some negotiation with the author, we decide to cancel the presentation from Siti Astarining Sisetya Putri because the video is we there's a technical problem with the video, and Miss Setia Putri, how to say, she prefer not to present her presentation live now. So we decide, we negotiate, and we deal to cancel the presentation of Miss Siti Astarining Sisetya Putri. We are very sorry for this. However, we still have time for one question now from the presentation of Ms. Umi Muawana or Ms. Latifa Rashida and Ms. Eva Rahmawati. Is there any question for them? I don't see any raising hands now. If there's no question, maybe I would like to ask one for Ms. Eva Rahmawati. Okay, so Ms. Eva, from your study, you decide, excellent argument to improve the tourism development in Indonesia. If you don't mind, could you please tell me what is the how is the method of your study? I mean, how did you take the samples? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Komaria, for the question. I take my samples by random sampling. So the total sample
people. For the boat village is almost 600 people. For the uh, Bukit Lawang, I get 263 people, and from the Namo Sialang, I got 278 people. I use the random generator sampling to decide how many people that that I should use for this research, for this study.
Okay.
Yeah. So I,
Okay.
yeah, I hope it's enough.
Yes, yes, thank you
Okay.
very much. It's enough. Thank you so much, Ms. Esa
Welcome.
Rahmawati. Everyone, thank you very much for the presentation today. And now we reach to the um, response, presentation from our panelists today. Novia Widyaning Tias, Master of Science. Okay, so this is the CV of our panelist today, Miss Novia Widyaning Tias, which her academic history, she graduates from Master of Applied Science Natural Resource Management from Massey University, Palmerston North, New Zealand. And now she is the Executive Secretary of Directorate General of Climate Change, Minister of Environment and Forestry. Okay, and also she's the director of the Center for Education and Training on Environment and Forestry Human Resources, Minister of Environment and Forestry, and also the member of Board of Directors, APIK, and also the alternate coordinator for ARKNFCC. And this is her contact email address if you have anything to be communicated with her. Okay, so Miss Novia Widyaningtya, so it's please uh, convey your how to say your argument and your presentation for to discuss the today presentation from all the presenters about low carbon development. Ms. Novia Widyaningtyas.
Thank you, Ibu Komaria. Very good afternoon, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to be here, and I'm thankful for the committee to be invited in this very important internal conference. Firstly, I would like to congratulate all the participants, presenters, for presenting of the interesting paper, and also I would like to congratulate the APIK network for having this very good international conference. And because the time is very short, I will convey a very short message to all of the presenters for today's. And maybe I would like to start with highlighting the importance of how we should manage the triple P, people, planet, and profit. I think all of the presenters today has been presenting on the three aspects of this triple P. Yes, through this very good opportunity, I would like to encourage the role of scientists as the scientific authority to provide with reliable scientific data from research. And it is very enlightening to listen from you how you have been doing research in some part of Indonesia and also in some other part of this world. I think we are all agree that this pandemic situation has been deriving our attention on how we should manage in balance between the environment and also the development, especially economic development. So this is the important how we can best manage the balance among the triple P, planet, people, and profit.
And I observed that the presenters, all of the presenters has been talking about some sectors in our NDCs, including forestry, um, and also waste. And I think this is very important for us, especially for Indonesia, to know how far we have achieved in terms of achieving the target of our NDC. And on behalf of the government, especially Ministry of Environment and Forestry, in particular DCCC as national focal point, we're thankful for your thoughts of giving us and providing us with results and findings from the research. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that all of the research you have been doing has been a very good intellectual exercises for all of you. And I'm sure you have been showing the innovations, the agility in doing your roles as scientists. And that is very important in terms of providing us, Indonesia, with inputs from scientific authority. And again, as the representative from National Focal Point, I would suggest you and encourage you to work more and more to do more collaboration with other sectors as we understand that our NDC is not only the obligation of the government, but also the obligation or demanding the roles of non-party stakeholders, including the academia, scientists, and also community in general. And also, I noticed from the presentation that there is also some interesting topics on the importance of understanding the indigenous or local knowledge. I think this is something that we cannot see as small things. This is a small things, but it is very beautiful for us as particularly from the point of view of a country like Indonesia, because we believe that Indonesia is very rich and very much very much given by the rich biodiversity. We are the mega biodiversity, and we are very rich in also in culture and also in indigenous and local knowledge. So this is one of our biggest modality in order to bring up the most balanced development. Maybe the next, I would like to also encourage you, all of the APIK network members and also any other partners, as part of actors in achieving our NDCs as a think tank, to always be in an honest, sincere, while also in the meantime, always be blowing the positive wind to our conversation, yeah, to give positive narratives. Maybe we are now struggling with this pandemic of COVID-19. It happens not only in Indonesia, but also in any other part of this world. And we are struggling with how we can build back better. And there's no other better way than to act positively, to think positively, to move positively towards a better future in this midst of pandemic of COVID-19 that we don't know when it will finish. And further, I'd like to encourage you, all of the participants, to strengthen our collaboration and innovation action among the stakeholders. I think that's all from my side as the representative from the National Focal Point Office of DGCC, of Ministry of Environment and Forestry. And again, I would like to congratulate the APIK network for having this successful conference. Thank you very much, Ibu.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Ms. Novia Widyaningtyas, for the summary of our discussion today. And thank you so much also for all the distinguished participants, presenters, and all the audience today. And now we are, I think I don't have to say anything again because everything already summarized by Ms. Novia Widyaningtyas. Okay, so now it's our time to go for the closing remarks. Thank you, and I ask for your apologies if there's something I say or I do which is maybe you don't like. Okay, so thank you, everyone. As the moderator today, I say goodbye to you, and we will join to the main room again for the closing remarks from the committee. Thank you.
Yeah, we kindly request all participants don't leave your Zoom because we still have the last agenda, the closing remark from the Dr. Yunita Ismail. So the committee will help you to move to the plenary session to main room, so we can hear the closing remark from Ibu Yunita Ismail. So please don't leave your Zoom, and committee will help you to move.